Welcome back to this new pizza array tutorial, and today we want to create an 80s style grid. Let's go! Here we are in a fresh Blender scene and our rust is already rating. Let's delete the cube and we want to bring in here a plane, a fresh plane. Let's change the dimensions to 40 by 40 and we want to bring this in the Y location to 10. For the low poly mountains, we want to use here the landscape tool. If you don't have this here in your menu, you can go to the edit preferences and by the add-ons you have to search for landscape and enable this one. Let's bring in here a landscape. Yeah, and in a low poly 80s style scene we have to create some low poly mountains. So let's disable here shade smooth. I want to go with subdivisions 9 by 9, create a mesh size 10 by 10, and now we want to change here the noise scale to 0.1 and go to the displacement settings and change these to in the height to 4. Let's change the offset to 1.65 and the maximum to 50. Now we have to bring in this one to the right position. So let's change this to 15 by 12 and we want to increase here a little bit the size of the mountain to 1.5 in every direction. Let's duplicate this one and bring this one to 11 by 26. And now we can duplicate this one here again and bring this one over to -15 and -11. Okay, that's basically our scene for today. And yeah, one thing is left and that is the sun. So let's bring in here a curve and a cycle. So in this cycle, let's push this a little bit here up. Here it's an empty, but we can change this when we are going here into the data properties and change here some stuff. We want to change this to 2D and change the fill mode to both. Now we can see that the plane or that the circle is filled, and I want to go here to the geometry and change the extrude to 0.01, so we have a little bit of depth here. Now we can go here into the scale and change this X and Y to 15, rotate this here to 90 degrees and push this back here to 60 by 6. For the final position of the camera, let's change this one here really quick. So I want to go with the position, so let's change here the camera position to something like 0, -11 and 0.65. I want to go with 90 degrees, 0 and 0. And let's change here the focal length to 25. I want to have a shift offset in the Y to 0.12. And yeah, let's get started here with some shading. And yeah, first of all, I want to go here with the floor. Well, let's change here to shading and let's see what we got here. So first let's make here a material which is the floor, and to create a grid we have to help ourselves with a shader which is here the brick shader or the brick texture, and bring in this here into the base color. Let's change here some stuff to make it a little bit more like a grid. Let's change the offset to 1. Let's leave the frequency squash and other frequency we want to change here the colors now to black color, black, and the grid should be white. So that is the grid now. But as you can see, it's not really a quadratic or quad grid. I think it's a quad grid. And yeah, let's change here the scale now to 15 and bring down the mortar size to really small number, which is 0.001. So really thin here now. And yeah, let's leave the mortar smooth to as it is, and we can go down with the brick size or brick width, sorry, the brick width to 0.25. And now we have yeah, nearly even grid here, which is cool. But yeah, we want to have it in some neon colors, and to do this we can mix this with a mix RGB. So let's bring in here a mix RGB node, and yeah, for mixing we need some colors. So let's go here with a ramp, color ramp, and we need for this a gradient texture. Let's put this one here inside, and texture or coordinate setup. So let's press Alt and Control and T if you have the Node Wrangler setup enabled. Yeah, if you don't have the Node Wrangler setup or plugin, go to Preferences and search for Wrangler, enable this one, and when you're pressing Ctrl and T you get this setup here. I want to change now the offset here to from generated to offset to object, and yeah, bring in here now the color into the second color input here of the mix, and maybe let's press here on multiply, so the gradient is only affecting here on the grid, not on the color here, and we have to increase here the factor to 1. So now we can see here the gradient, but yeah, to rotate this one we can go here now into the mapping and change this to 90. So yeah, the black is now in the back, and yeah, the white is here in the front. So let's change the colors a little bit. The bluish color is something like in the hex code here, like this. And I want to go with some pinkish here in the second one. So we have something like this. And when we are now bring down here the slider a little bit, we have a little bit pink here in the front and a little bit blue more in the back. But as always, it's up to you how you like the gradient. So yeah, let's put these two things here now into the color channel and the emission as well. And I want to increase the emission to 50. We have to enable here some stuff for Eevee, so let's go into the settings and let's enable ambient occlusion, bloom, and screen space reflections. So we have a little bit more going on here now. For some reflection stuff, can duplicate here the brick texture and bring this one here into the roughness. Now you can see that everything is going here into a glossy mode, but I want to have only some boxes which will reflect and some boxes which will not reflect. So, and to have a little bit more control over this, I want to bring in here the first color into a white again. Now you can see that's a little bit more yeah, it's a little bit more than what I'm looking for here. And if you're playing here with the gray values, you can adjust it like you want it. But I like it that some of them is a little bit more reflective and some of them not. Let's go ahead here with the landscape. I want to put the landscapes here into a collection. Scape. And we want to add here a new material. Yeah, and that's a really easy one. So maybe let's change here into the rendered view. And yeah, that's an easy one. So let's change the base color to black. And I put down the roughness to 0. Okay, well now we can add this here to the other one. If you want to bring a material to more than one object, you can select these objects by pressing Shift, and the last object should be the object with the material. Then press Ctrl and L, and then you have to press Link Materials, and then you put the material from the last selected mesh to all the other meshes. Okay, that is the material basically for the landscapes. Let's create the material for the sun, because we want to add later here some grids over the landscapes, and we want to use the same material for this. Let's create the material here now. We will do here now some gradient stuff again. So we need a color ramp, so let's search here for a color ramp and put this here into the base color and into the emission as well. Okay, and yeah, we need a gradient texture. Put this one here inside, and we need a texture setup again. Control and T, and we want to bring in this one here again to object. Let's change the rotation to 90 here in the Z, and now we can have some fun here with some colors. I like to go here with an yellow orange here as instead of the black, so let's go with this one. And the second one is a more orangey light, orangey color, something like this, and we can put or push this a little bit up here so we can see a little bit more the gradient now. Okay, because we are having this one here in the emission, let's increase the emission strength to 5, so it's a little bit glowy here going on. That's cool. And now we can create here the grids for the landscapes. So we have to duplicate the 4 landscapes. So select them and pressing Shift and D, escape, and then we can press M to new collection, landscape grid. And now we want to bring in here these sun material to them. So let's put this here off and select here sun. Same thing again for this one. Select, maybe let's make this here select, last one select, Control L, link materials, boom. Okay, and now we want to go here to the modifiers, add modifier, and press on wireframe. And that's basically it for this. We'll do this here for all the landscapes here now. Wireframe and wireframe. Here for the background, we want to create a cool gradient here. So yeah, we have to go here now to the world settings. As we can see, we have here this color picker, but yeah, let's create here a gradient for this one again. So let's see, we need a color ramp, gradient, texture, put this here color into the color, gradient here again, and Control T, yeah, this one, this time we leave this on generated, but we have to change this here now in the Y to 90. The first slider should be something dark orange, so let's go with this hex code here. And the second one is a more purple color, so let's go here with this one. And maybe let's bring down the slider a little bit more here to the center so we can see the gradient a little bit more. Okay, that's here. Now our scene, we can bring in here a little bit more depth. And to do this, yeah, as always, you know it, let's create here a cube for some depth, which will be some fog. And yeah, let's increase here the numbers to 40 by 40 by 30. And I want to push this a little bit back here to 30. So the fog will not start here where our camera is, a little bit behind our guy. So we have a little bit more depth feeling here for this. And yeah, we want to enable here, maybe let's rename this one and change here back to object, new material, fog. And yeah, some people of you know it, we don't need the BSDF, we just need here the volumetric scatter. Pipe this here into the volume, bring this one a little bit down here to some grayish color. And the density is really low here because we want to have a little bit of depth, but not really visible. So let's bring this down to 0.05 and the anisotropy to 0.5. Okay, that's not really visible, as you can see here. We have one light, and yeah, to bring this a little bit more to life and to depth yeah, we want to create here some lights. The first light is here now our imported light or our start light. So let's change first here the color of the light. So I want to go here with this hex code, orangey stuff, and we can leave it as a point light, but we want to increase this power to a really high number. So let's go with a 200,000, I think. Yeah, 200,000. And yeah, we want to turn down here the diffuse and the specular, because we don't want to have any reflections of this light. We only want to have a volumetric light here. So let's leave the radius like it is and leave the shadow settings, but we want to push this one a little bit back here to 0 and bring this to 50 by 20. And now we can see yeah, that the fog is really visible through this light here. So I think that's adding here a little bit more depth here for the hills here and stuff like that. And yeah, to increase a little bit more this burny feeling, we can enable or bring in here a new area light and change this color here to something yellowish. And yeah, again, we need really high power, 200,000. Boom. And yeah, let's rotate this one here to -90. We can see what's going on. And yeah, bring this back here to 4035. So that's really bright here right now, but we have to change something. So let's go here with the shape size to a rectangle. I want to change this to 12 by 0.5. Now it's really bright, so let's change the custom distance now to from 40 to 3. Now it's looking better here. Now we have some highlighted edge here, which is cool, and I think that's it for this light. And the last light should be here something, only a little bit of a rim light here for our rust. Yeah, let's duplicate here our area sunlight again, so Shift and D, and I want to bring this here down to 0, 1.5 and 1.5. Oh, it's a really glowy guy here now. Now let's go here with 1000, and I want to change the rectangle size to 2.3 by 1.5. As you can see now, we have a little bit here of shaping the character, and that's looking for me a little bit better. Yeah, and for some final stuff, we can go here into the Eevee settings and enable or disable here the half rest trace, bring in the trace precision to 1, maximum roughness to 1, and the edge fading. And for the render, I would turn this up to 128. And the last thing is here to go into the color management and change the look to a high contrast, but as always, that's up to you. And the last thing will be here, and I like to add here some depth of field, but as always, that's your part. And I want to go here with a depth of field and select this. Here we can go here with a pick thing eyedropper and select here our rust guy, or which character or car or whatever you have here in your scene. Select this one and go with the f-stop of 0.5. That was this tutorial, and if you want to see more stuff like this, check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you want to support me, check out my Gumroad or Blender Market page. See you there, and bye.